So we raise chickens for both meat and eggs, and we've been doing that for about 3 years now. And we love raising chickens, but is it cost effective? How much does it actually cost to raise chickens for eggs? And the bigger question, is it worth it? So with the cost of eggs being what it is today, I'm going to be breaking down my exact numbers on how much it actually costs us to raise chickens for eggs, and answering that question, is raising chickens for eggs worth it? All right, so here I have a few different dozens of eggs, right? We're looking at organic, free-range eggs to see if we can beat that price. Now, this is just what I found online. It might vary if you go to your local grocery store, but on average, I'm gonna take the price of eggs that you can see on the screen here, and that is what we are trying to beat when we do our cost of eggs math. All right, so we have a total of 16 chickens. We have 14 hens and 2 roosters. Now, for getting eggs for eating, all right, you do not need roosters because hens will lay eggs anyway, and you don't need fertilized eggs in order to eat them. You can eat fertilized eggs. We eat fertilized eggs all the time, and it doesn't matter if they are unfertilized or fertilized in order to actually eat the eggs themselves. We keep roosters for chickens for meat, which is a completely different video, so stay tuned for that one. But in order for us to make this video, we're gonna count all of our 16 chickens as if they all produced eggs. All right, so let's pretend all of our 16 chickens are female because we are still accounting for them in our flock and we still feed them. All right, so that makes 16 total egg producing chickens. Now, one full-grown chicken will eat about 1/4 pound of food per day. Multiply that by 16 chickens in our flock and we've got about 4 pounds of feed per day times 30 days per month, and that makes 120 pounds of feed per month for our specific flock. The bags of feed that we feed our flock are about 40 pounds each, all right? And they cost $29, give or take, depending on where you get them. But on average, they're $29 for organic feed, for layer feed, right? Which is a 16% feed for our chicken layers. Sometimes we do get by with a little bit less feed because we feed them table scraps and we have a whole nother system for getting the cost of feed down. But for this equation, we're gonna go with 120 pounds of feed, and it costs us $29 per 40 pounds. So that averages out to about 3 bags of chicken feed, and they cost $29, which makes $87 per month for our flock of 16 chickens. So for those $87, how many eggs are we actually getting, and is it worth it? Now, most chickens will lay between 4 or 5 eggs per week, all right? That depends on the breed of chicken. It also depends on the age of the chicken, but our chickens are within that laying range of age. Between 2 and 3 years is generally like top production, which means that we are getting that 4 or 5 eggs per chicken per week. Now, I'm going to call it 4 eggs to be more on the conservative side, to give you guys a better number. I'd rather be, conservative than overestimating our totals. So 4 eggs per week per chicken times 16 chickens, that means 64 eggs per week. If you take that number and multiply it by 4 for the 4 weeks per month, you get 256 chicken eggs, or 21 1/3 dozen eggs. So if we take that $87 we're spending on feed, divided by the 21.3 dozen eggs, that comes out to $4.08 per dozen. And that's a pretty good number considering that we usually get more eggs than 4 per week from our hens. And we actually supplement a lot of the feed by free ranging and by providing table scraps, all right? So that is a really good number. And as you can see, all right, our $4.08 over here versus our grocery store number over here, we were able to beat our grocery store price for the cost of eggs. And keep in mind that those are organic free range eggs, all right? We are not taking the eggs from the grocery store that are, the chickens kept in these tiny little cages, all right, that never get to see the sunlight or any of that. Our chickens are happy and healthy, and they get to eat bugs and turn over logs and do all the things that normal chickens would do. And we also get fertilized eggs. So another benefit of keeping roosters is that you could take those eggs, incubate them, and get other types of chicken, like chicken meat, all right, not just the eggs. Now, if you're watching this video, you probably already know of the benefits of raising your own chickens for meat or eggs, or even both. Most of the reason that we got chickens is not because we can't afford grocery store eggs. As you can see, it is, cheaper than buying eggs from the grocery store, but it's not that much cheaper. All right, so why do we do it? Well, one of the main benefits is that you get to control the food supply. All right, you are not relying on the grocery store in the case that they don't have any food. All right, which has happened in the very recent past. Now, you can go out to the, to the grocery store and hope and pray that they have food for your family, or you can go out to your own property in the backyard or wherever it is that you keep your flock of chickens, all right? And you can just reach out and grab some eggs from your nesting boxes, all right? And for me, that is such a relief that we are able to do that. Now, I know that not everybody can get to keep chickens, all right, with their city ordinances and their suburban laws and all the regulations that come in place with homesteading in the suburbs. But I want to challenge you on that because a lot of cities prevent you from having roosters. They do not prevent you from having hens. And even if they have some sort of poultry laws in place, you can often go to the city council and maybe petition or challenge that or something in order to get the hens without the roosters, all right? Because hens make a lot less noise than roosters do. Another thing that I've often heard of, instead of getting to keep chickens, right? If your city is 100% against it, if your homeowner association or your suburban community or whatever it is does not allow you to keep chickens, is raising quail. All right, quail eggs are just a little bit smaller than chicken eggs, all right? So you need more of them. However, quail are often excluded from this category, right? Because a lot of homeowner associations and city councils and other entities just forget to add all different types of poultry. They mainly focus on chickens and turkeys and that sort of thing. Now, quail are very small. They make very, very little noise, which means that you could probably keep the roosters as well. And a lot of times, no one would even know that you have them. You can keep them in the cage in your backyard. You can even keep them inside the house, and they lay about an egg a day or maybe between 4 or 5 eggs a week, just like chickens do. Now, I have often bought quail eggs at the grocery store, and they are significantly more expensive than chicken eggs. All right, so if that's something that you're open to, raising quail eggs is probably a lot more profitable than raising chicken eggs even. All right, if you can have both, I would definitely recommend doing both. We have done both in the past, and we'll probably be adding quail back into our homestead in the future for dog food and for our own quail eggs and sort of things like that. But definitely keeping chicken eggs is a great source of an additional food for your family, and it's worth it in my opinion because we are able to reduce a lot of their feed costs by free ranging. All right, letting them out even a couple of times a week would serve to reduce the cost of the feed that they're eating, all right? Because if they are free ranging and picking in the grass for bugs and other stones and that sort of thing, they are eating less feed inside of the coop. And then also we take all of our kitchen scraps, anything that comes off of our plates that we know is not toxic to them, which is most things actually, we put it in a container and we put it in the refrigerator, and then at the end of the day or the next day or whatever it is, we take it out to the chicken yard and we dump it all out and they're able to eat that. So that number is actually a very conservative number, and you can definitely get that number down to much lower if you really wanted to. All right, keeping chicken eggs, in my opinion, is a great way to produce food for your family, and if you have the added benefit that you can keep roosters, you can get fertilized eggs and make your own baby chickens for meat and even for selling, and lots of other ways to increase income on your property. And if you are wanting to keep chickens for meat and you don't know how you would eventually butcher out those chickens, I have an entire video on it. I will leave it linked to this video, so go and watch that if you'd like to see how exactly I butcher out my chickens for meat. And thanks for watching. I will see you guys in the next one. Bye.